So this show, Let's Get Real, if you're tuning in for the first time and go, wow, these guys are talking about fashion. Show is not about fashion. However, we're not too far from that, where it's just two dudes talking about crying and sunsets and rainbows and feelings. What Let's Get Real is a show to give support to other guys. The whole lifeblood of this show is to talk about things that you don't normally get to talk about or normally hear other dudes talk about. We try to balance a good amount of humor with heart in this show. And what we'll tell you, and I say this every week, is that if you have the courage to call, you will not get judged by us. What I find what I have found in 15 plus years of coaching everybody from crazy radio people like yourself.
Yep, thank you very much.
To crazy entrepreneurs that I deal with during my day job, is that sometimes you just need a space to figure out what you need to figure out. And guys, male of the species, really need that. So we want to give that to you. 1-800-771-1025, 1-800-771-1025. If we go off in a conversation, in a tangent or whatever, but you're like, hey, man, I really want to talk about something, just call. Like, seriously, interrupt us. Just like, hey, man, I got to talk about my brother, my family, or this itch I've got, or whatever it is. If you need a place to process, that's what Let's Get Real is all about. 1-800-771-1025. Also, we have a YouTube channel at Let's Get Real Radio Show. You can subscribe there, and I strongly encourage you to subscribe. Please subscribe, because we post content on there throughout the week, not just on this show, because we only right now get to do this show on Saturdays for 2 hours from noon until 2. But I have been trying to get into that vibrational space where I manifest this show occurring live more than just one day a week. I'm working on it.
Well, listen, you and me both. You and me both.
It's a journey.
It is, and I got to tell you, I love the journey.
It is. It's a good journey.
Yeah.
I was, you and I were talking about this off air, and I'll just jump right into this idea of, sometimes people balk at the word manifestation.
Yeah, it's an easy one to balk at, especially lately, because you see every influencer.
Right.
Yeah,
like, well, you can manifest that.
Yeah.
So let me take that a layer deeper. So what I think about manifestation, what I think about is I'm not afraid to create. I'm not afraid to dream big. I'm not afraid to think of the reality I want to create. And if you since we're just two dudes talking about our feelings,
give it to me.
Whenever you create in your mind's eye a scenario that you really are excited about. Like for me, it's doing this show 5 days a week. Like this is all I want to do. Somebody asked me a couple of weeks ago, a leader in the radio industry, well, tell me, Michael, what do you want to do with the show? I'm like, I don't know, dude, man. I just want to do it every day. You tell me. I just want to do it every day. But when I think about that, when I think about what I'm trying to manifest, I get excited. I can genuinely get excited. I start feeling it. And then I realize that the energy that I'm feeling is just matching what it's going to be like when it goes from, I heard this morning, when it goes, if you can create it in your head, you can create it in your hand.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right. But I get excited. That is a true feeling. You know what I mean? But what I read about this morning, when I was thinking about this morning, I was preparing for today's show, is that when we get that feeling, what we want to create in reality, what we want to manifest, we want it to be here like right now.
Yeah.
Like, can it just show up like right now? Can I just literally get a text message from like Jason Meter going, hey, dude, we're going to give you 5 days a week.
We're in.
So, but the reality is when you want something like that, and it could be a dream job, it can be a relationship, it could be a home, it could be whatever you want, whatever the most important thing to you is in your life, is that it's not supposed to happen that quick. Because a huge part of this getting into a vibrational energy to create the thing that you want to create and bring it into physical reality is the journey along the way.
Yeah.
What are the lessons you're supposed to learn along the way? What are the mistakes you make in that thing? You said something multiple times on this show, and I think it's brilliant.
Oh, no.
I'm going to quote something of you, is that when you try to force a manifestation of whatever, you create a bastardized version of that thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's basically what you said.
100%, and I've experienced it in real time numerous times throughout my life. And the whole reason I even said it the first time is because once it happened to me and I was aware of it, it was like that switch goes off, and all of a sudden you're hit with a domino of memories where you now see that has happened to you multiple times, and it's time to learn from the lesson. So yeah, I've gotten plenty of bastardized versions because I think I am better than the universe sometimes.
Oh, you're not.
I know, dude.
Just saying. You're not, but it's cool. But I think it's worth exploring, and it's worth just saying out loud. It's like, all right, we're just, we're trying to create. We all are. You, me, Eric, our new producer. Hey, Eric.
What's up, Eric?
Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for coming to work today. We're all of us as human beings, we want to create a reality. We're not escaping our existing reality, but there's a thing. Like, we all have a thing that we crave. And one thing that I've learned for years and years and years of studying spiritual practice and things like that is that if you live in a state of want, you only create more want.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to balance the I want this thing, but also acting as if it's already existed in physical reality, so that when you are approaching whatever it is that you want, you're not creating more want. I think, and I love my wife to death, I think that's an issue for her. That trips her up.
I bet that's an issue for a lot of people, because you just said that, and I immediately was like, oh my God, I do that.
Yeah, we all do. Because you want something, and you're like, I want it. And the universe is like, you must really like want. So here's more want. But if you're like, hey, you know what? Like, and it's easy for me to use this as an example, and I really appreciate the Let's Get Real community. And I'm going to just say again, if you got something you got going on, you want support, because me and Spanish are just helping each other out right now. 1-800-771-1025 is our phone number, 1-800-771-1025. But this show, since we started this show May 11th, so we've been doing this show in June, July, August, September, 4 months. Crazy, right?
Oh,
Mike Calta thought we were going to do this for like 4 shows.
Yeah.
Get out of here, Mike. You don't know what you're talking about. We're doing this show for 4 months. Now, the reality is we do the show 1 day a week.
Mm-hmm.
So if this were a traditional show like Mike's show, and we were on 5 days a week, we'd only be done with our first month right now.
Damn.
So we're really in our infancy of the show. But I've done enough, having been in radio for 25 years, being a program director or host myself. Like, I know what this feels like. I literally, and I mean this with every fabric of my being, when Linkin Park in the End was playing and the music was starting, man, I just felt this genuine excitement, a genuine feeling of excitement, like deep in my heart of doing the show. So when I think about what manifestation looks like for me in my life right now, I just want to do this show.
Yeah.
Just want to do this show. I want to do it more than 2 hours live a week.
Yeah. I love helping people.
And you know what? It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. It has to happen.
There's no, like, I've already seen, and the reality is that every week, and I told you some of this stuff off the air, and I won't bore the Let's Get Real community with this, but like behind the scenes, there's a lot of conversations happening. And the feedback that people are saying about this show, the professional people in the radio and in the digital audio industry, is holy crap. I've never heard anything like that. Which is just validation. It's like, all right, cool. Going in the right direction. So back to the manifestation thing, it's very easy for me to see a time in the future where this is all I do. I don't have a day job with crazy entrepreneurs. I'm not doing projects for other people. I'm just focusing on this. Instead of, 2 hours a week, it's a true 40-hour week. Yeah. So I understand what that feels like and what that looks like. And I've come to a place really recently where I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing. I'm going to continue to try to make this show as good as it can be. As great as, you know what? Whether this show is a great show or whether last Saturday's show was what it was and it, whatever, we just get a little bit better doing the show. And I think we're going in a direction, I think for myself personally, where I see what that manifestation looks like and I know what it feels like. And to me, there's a pin in the map of some future timeline where it already exists. So, what are the lessons I can learn between now and then? And they're not all like
big ones.
Yeah. They're not all like huge things, but I think it's important so that like if the phone rang and who knows, maybe it does, maybe it rings before the end of the show. But whatever timeline exists, I don't want to force a bastardized version of that.
Yeah.
Like if, Tulsa, Oklahoma calls and they're like, we love your show. Come to Tulsa. I don't really want to live in Tulsa.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm good. That's not what I visualized. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to say no to a conversation with these people, but that's a step in the journey. And I think whatever it is, so if you're listening to this conversation, well, what are these dudes talking about? What we're talking about is locking into that thing that you want more than anything else. And maybe it's worth saying out loud as the male of the species. And I think I think this is a human thing. I don't think it's just a male thing, but I've experienced, because I've coached a lot of men in my life, is that one of the hardest things to figure out is, what do you really, really, really want? Like, we want things, and we live in a state of want because we're like some sort of lack in our life of, I don't have money or relationship or whatever. But when I look at you and I say, okay, and I look at myself in the same, I put a mirror to myself, okay, what do you really, 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 really want? Like, more than anything else, that if you get that thing, it's such a huge step in the story of your life. You know, it's not just I get a new car or I get a new home. There's something like for me, and again, I love talking about Ikigai, the great purpose in life. You know, the connection of your passion, the connection of what the world means, what you're good at, and what people will pay you for. I believe that hosting this show is my Ikigai.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know, from the start of this, I just love helping people, and I've always wanted to
good at it
help
too.
people. Yeah, thank you, man. It's, I was just having a conversation with a buddy of mine about, because he was asking me about the show. He didn't listen, sent him the YouTube link, and he watched a couple of the videos on there. And the first thing he did is he texted me, and he's got this life question. And I was like, I'd be honest, man, I was like, that's pretty much all my DMs right now on Instagram is just people that are asking questions. And, I offer whatever advice I can. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. But, to your point of manifesting and kind of letting things unfold in their own time, the big lesson that I've had to learn is the more I force it, the less pieces of my life are ready for and aligned to what it is I'm trying to manifest. And when that happens and they're not aligned, and there are just some things in my life that are aligned to what I'm trying to manifest, boy, that bastardized version is hardcore, and it ruins a lot. And it's funny you bring this up, because I was just reading about the double slit experiment that they did at CERN, where they showed that particles react differently when they're viewed. They took it a step further, and now they're trying to quantify that the particles are actually reacting to your belief of what they can do.
Ooh.
Yeah. Right?
Ooh, I'd like to dive into that a little bit more.
So if they can prove, they haven't been able to dial it in yet, but if they can prove that, to me, that's like a huge step in spirituality in general.
Yeah, that changes a lot.
Right?
That changes a lot. Not just the seeing it, but believing it. 1-800-771-1025 is our phone number. Remember, this show is about support for you guys. So if you got something that's aching you got to work on it. You just need to talk through what you need to talk through. That's why we're here. 1-800-771-1025. It's Let's Get Real on 102.5 The Bone.